Super Rugby round number 1 is in the bag, folks. I think it was a pretty good round. Pretty entertaining rugby. The only thing is, I would say, pretty predictable. I think all those results, the favourites won. And the one which was the kind of closest on paper, which was the Crusaders and the Chiefs, that was the only one that got within like losing bonus point range. We'll go through the games pretty quick, smart, and you guys can let us know your thoughts on how the round went. But yeah, game 1. Crusaders up in Hamilton, down in Hamilton from where I am, but it's a journey north for them from Christchurch. 33-29, game of two halves, cliche but true. Chiefs, pretty decent lead in the first half. I mean, they actually get outscored by the Crusaders, what, like 20? No, not 29. 19-6 in the second half. So good second half comeback from the Crusaders. They end up getting tries through Reese. Fihaki gets a couple, and then Scotty Barrett gets one. So they outscore the Chiefs try-wise. 4-3. They get ones through Boshia, Rowe, and Nana Setoro. And I would say Chiefs look better when Damian McKenzie was on the park. He had to go off with an injury. So Josh Ioane came on, and I would say maybe the Chiefs lost a little bit of that direction. Obviously, it's not just down to any one thing, but yeah, you can't write the Crusaders off. When they looked dead and buried at halftime, that proved not to be the case. So, yeah, a couple of individual standouts. I mean, Tupaya was great to see him back. He also went off, though, but he beat like 6 defenders, which was among the most in that game, whereas Levi Almua, recent Crusaders acquisition, had like 2 carries the whole game and didn't make any meters. So, yeah, not his kind of ideal first start. There was a lot of kind of hype around him for that first Crusaders game, but yeah, nothing that much in terms of that. But I mean, Tom Christie, he's a tackling machine. He will be, if he doesn't get injured, the top tackler in Super Rugby this year. I think you can pretty much put the house on it. 28 tackles out of 30 for this week is absolutely nuts. But yeah, I think the most well-attended game this week was 16,000, so not a bad start to the season down there in Hamilton. Second game was in Melbourne. The lowest attendance of the reported attendances, remembering they only opened ticket sales like a day or two before this game actually started. Yeah, because of the Rebels off-the-field issues with the finances. They weren't sure they were going to get access to AAMI Park, so they did manage to get 4,000 people through the gates for that one. To see the Rebels get pretty well handed to them. I mean, 30 points to 3. The Rebels don't score a try. From memory, they got a consolation try, which was then chalked off by the TMO. It's been a while since I watched a fair bit of rugby since then, but that seems to be true. And the Brumbies, with the likes of Toole back fit. Remember, he missed a bit of last season. I mean, geez, he's got some pace. He gets a couple of tries. Charlie Cowell gets a couple of tries as well. So 4 tries for the Brumbies. Nice bonus point for them. They did concede 20 penalties, which is way too high. They'll want to halve that for their next game. The Rebels had issues. I mean, Dalgunu got a yellow card. Their line-out had some issues. So Gordon had 1 goal kick, which was like really straightforward, and he fluffed his line. So yeah, back to the drawing board for the Rebels. But yeah, they were always expected to lose that one, and the Brumbies came in pretty strong. So yeah, 122 metres, 3 clean breaks, 3 defenders beaten for Toole. He will be one of the better attacking weapons in the competition if he can stay fit. Dalgunu beat 7 defenders, but he also got a yellow card, so bit of a mixed bag for him in the midfield. The final of the Friday games was the Trans-Tasman matchup between the Canes and the Force. 44-14. Bit of a hiding. I think just under 8,000 fans over there in Forceland, so over there in Perth. Pretty vocal. It felt like more than that, but yeah, their side, sadly for them, got pretty well whooped. I mean, there's tries through Morby, Viljoen on his debut, Delaney, Almua, Lakai, yeah, Rayasi, a bunch of tries. I mean, they did get ones through White and Tiatia in the second half for the Force. Couple of second half ones as they were kind of going in nilled at halftime, but their line out let them down a bit. They had an early yellow card to Potter, which was pretty unfortunate. So yeah, I mean, Tiatia still made 100+ meters, but yeah, in a big old losing shift. I mean, Morby had 92, beat 4 defenders. Delaney, 3 line out steals. So yeah, very, very encouraging start from the Canes. They get that kind of early, well, that long trip to Perth out of the way early. Long trip in the context of this competition. That's kind of one of the longer trips you will have out to Western Australia. The Force need to get better results at home than that. It was always going to be a tough ask. I know they got some injuries against the Canes, but yeah, they'll need to do better than that. Saturday game, speaking of need to do better than that, the Drua got absolutely hammered in the first half against the Blues. It was 29-5 at halftime. So they did win the second half, but yeah, not great from the from the Drua boys, sadly. I mean, there's tries through Sotutu, he gets a couple, Clark gets one, Zan Sullivan gets a couple, Papali gets one, they get one through Otusulia, the Drua in consolation, but yeah, that was not kind of what the doctor ordered. I mean, great from the Blues. Up in Whangarei, seemed really hot. It was a late afternoon game, but the Fijian guys wouldn't have been affected by the heat because it's pretty hot in Fiji as well. But I mean, maybe it's just a good Blue side. I mean, Clark beat 8 defenders. Like I said, Sotutu, John Kirwan kind of predicted it that he would have a bit of a bee in his bonnet after the All Blacks non-selection last year, so maybe he's got a bit of a point to prove. But I mean, I guess for the Drua, he kind of very beat 6 defenders, and second half did get better. They won the second half, so if nothing else, it must have been 29-3 at halftime, not 29-7-5. But yeah, the second half not great for the Blues. I guess they didn't really kind of push on, but they got at least a bit more of a contest. The next one, which was the Highlanders against Moana Pacifica, a little bit of a scare. Like, I think these games kind of had a bit of a role reversal. It was expected that Moana Pacifica would get a bit of a hiding. They did end up getting beaten pretty handily. I mean, 35-21 is not disgraceful. It's a 21-3 second half, though. Moana Pacifica were leading at halftime. So there's some encouraging signs there, but there's also a few concerns if you're going to ship, 18 more points than your opponents in the second half. You're not going to win many games that way. Ratu Maitavuki Neepkins managed to bag a couple and beat, I think, more defenders than anybody else this week with 10. So good start to his Highlanders career. Tavatava Nawai against his old team managed to bag a try. Gilbert got one as well. Mal got one as well. So the Moana Pacifica boys had 2 going the other way, kicked some goals. But yeah, I feel like that's more encouraging than discouraging. The Highlanders have been really cracking in preseason. And the Moana Pacifica boys were largely expected to get walloped. I mean, it's still, it's still a pretty comfortable scoreline, but by no means disgraceful. 12,500 fans for that one. The zoo seemed pretty packed. Orientation week down in Dunedin, so yeah, good stuff for the home fans there. And the last game, kind of state against state, right? New South Wales, Queensland, Reds, Tars, 40 points to 22. Bit of a hiding in the end. Bit of a controversial call in that one as well, with Jorgensen getting a yellow card and penalty try at one point for kind of a very slightly early tackle. But yeah, it is what it is. I think Morgan Turanui was the only one who kind of accepted it. The other commentators weren't kind of big fans of that call. But I mean, Fassler bagged a couple. Paisami got one. McDermott got one. McCright got one. I mean, Gordon got one in return. And like Peach had a couple. One of them was just bizarre. I think he flicked it in and then it bounced off Paisami and it back into his hands. So yeah, really, really bizarre. But nice, attractive try. So a pretty high scoring one. 14,500 fans out there for that one. So the best of the Aussie attendances this week. I mean, but ultimately Queensland just dominated the traditional areas. More possession, more territory, big shifts from the likes of McCright. Heaps of carries, heaps of tackles. Wilson, same deal. So yeah, I mean, Charlie Gamble, 20 out of 20 tackles, not bad. But yeah, ultimately, tough day at the office for them. So yeah, you got this weird situation after one round where you got 5 teams on 5 points. The Hurricanes, Brumbies, Blues, Reds, and Highlanders in that order based on the points difference. Then the middle of the table is the Chiefs and Crusaders on 4 points and 1. And then the other 5 teams on no points, Moana Pacifica, Waratahs, Drua, Rebels, and Force. So that is the way the log is looking after one round. Round 2, if we put the fixtures up, remember, is the Super Round. So it's in Melbourne. So these games aren't really traditional home and away, barring the Rebels game against the Force. That one is a genuine home game for the Rebels guys. Everything else is kind of basically neutral venues. And we've got this interesting situation where it's all winners against winners, losers against losers. Highlanders, Blues both had good wins. Rebels Force, that's going to be hopefully a pretty evenly matched game. They're both coming off losses. Moana Pacifica Drua looks tasty. Crusaders Waratahs, both sides had a loss, but surely the Crusaders will be big favourites for that one. Chiefs Brumbies, I would imagine Chiefs go in as favourites, but based on what we've seen from round one, I mean, the best looking of the Aussie teams was probably the Brumbies or the Reds. And then Hurricanes Reds will also be pretty interesting. So, yeah, Super Rugby first round in the bag. I think I was pretty happy with it. Pretty entertaining games. Didn't get to see them all live, but managed to watch them all in the end. You guys let us know your thoughts. How do you think the season is going to pan out? Do you have any kind of changed minds as to who the favourites are based on that? Is it going to be Chiefs Crusaders, or has anyone done enough to put a little shadow of doubt? You guys let us know your thoughts, and yeah, talk to you guys again soon. See you later.